Hey guys, this is Thomas from NurseMoneyTalk. And I think every nursing student at some point or another thinks about dropping out of school. Honestly, I remember when I was in nursing school, I probably thought about it almost on the regular. I mean, like after a certain point of I was working, 40 plus hours, school, clinicals, not really, not really sleeping well, like all this stress everywhere. I was thinking about dropping out pretty regularly. I didn't drop out. And for vast majority of nursing students, I would tell you the exact same thing. Don't drop out. Don't quit. Press on. Keep going. There's a light at the end of the tunnel and all this other jazz. But the reality of the situation is that there are reasons, certain reasons why nursing students, at the very minimum, probably should consider dropping out or consider if this is the right path they should be on. And those four reasons are actually what I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I get to that though, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, let me go ahead and invite you to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of my upcoming videos. Let me start back off and just kind of mention this one quick point, and that yeah, nursing school is hard. I think we know that already. There's a lot of things about nursing school that I think that can be overcome. So for instance, I've done some videos and written some articles on, if you can be a nurse, if you're afraid of needles and blood. So if you're a nurse that's squeamish, what about if you hate math or science? Can you be a nurse? Is being an introvert keep you from being a nurse? And so I've done videos on that, and for the most part you can overcome all of those things. Probably the one thing you cannot overcome, at least I don't think, is if you can't tolerate the work nurses do. You can't tolerate being a nurse. And I'm probably gonna get some pushback on this because you'll notice I'm saying tolerate and not have instead of passion. And the reason why I say that is because you can be passionate about nursing, but can't tolerate being a nurse. And to me, that there's a distinction with that, because there's so much more to being a nurse than just the patient care aspect. There's a lot of dynamics that you have to deal with that's beyond just dealing with patients. And that is where, in general, when I meet people and they talk about, that they're passionate about nursing, they generally, it's because they are passionate about patient care. They're passionate about taking care of patients. And I think there's this image that they get in their heads of this is how it's gonna be like taking care of patients. And then when you get out into the real world, so to speak, or as you start having your clinicals in the real world, you start seeing that there's a whole lot more to it than that. There's a dynamic between nurses and doctors that you have to overcome or deal with. There's dynamic between nurses and administrators, and nurses and being short staffed, where, you're required to do all of these things, but yet, you don't have the staff, or you don't have the tools that you need to do your job well. Then I don't even want to get started with the risk of violence and abuse that nurses at times get subjected to as well. And so that's why I say that you have to be able to tolerate all of that before, because if you if you can't tolerate any of that, then I think you're gonna be in for a very, very, very like tough or long career, because I like the nursing profession. I like what I do. I know a lot of nurses that like what they do as well, but there is a lot more that you deal with than just patient care in a lot of these nursing roles. The next reason that that I can foresee you needing to drop out, and sometimes maybe even dropping out almost immediately, is if there is a family and medical emergency. Now, this is everything, under the sun, kind of, that I'm grouping up in here. This could be a death in the family. Her situation, somebody leaves because, a spouse dies. Unfortunately, a child dies, a parent passes away. This could be situations of like divorce, where, that divorce in itself takes a lot of toll on you, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all that stuff. And so at times, you need some room to be able to deal with and process all of that before, dealing with nursing school. There's situations of job loss. There's a lot of things that can fall under this family and medical emergency. The point is, though, is that those are one of the things where, like, it's hard to really tell somebody to push ahead with that, because that's just life happening. There's at times you kind of have to, give a little bit of leeway, give a little bit of grace to just life, to just life being life and being what it is. One thing I will mention, though, is that if you do have to leave on account of this, well, the first thing is probably to see if there's any way you can finagle your schedule to make it work. That's probably the first thing. Talk to, an academic advisor, whoever handles that at whatever nursing program you're in. See if there's something you can do with that. I know for emergency situations, especially emergency situations that are documented, you can document that a lot of these programs will try to work with you as best as they can. If you do have to drop out or withdraw or whatever, one other thing that I will mention is that a lot of these programs will have like timeline on when you have to finish your program, before you start repeating courses. And so what I would just encourage you is that, like, if you do have to withdraw or drop out, I would probably try to find out all that information. Now, I know, like, I know it's not really gonna matter if some emergency's happening. You're gonna do what you're gonna have to do. But the reason why I say no, have that information, is that when things start getting better, or as things start improving, ideally you'll already kind of know in your head, okay, I have 1 year or I have 6 months before, to hop back into this program before, I have to start repeating classes or something like that. So that's just something I would encourage you to definitely keep in mind of. The next point is if your physical or mental health starts deteriorating. Now, I kind of moved this one away from the family and medical emergency, because I really wanted to hone on you as the person, because, like, I think one of the common traits I've seen of people who do become nurses is that it's almost kind of like they're constantly concerned of taking care of others. They're constantly concerned of doing X, Y, and Z, that they never really quite get a handle on, like, your self-care, your physical state, your mental, your emotional state makes a huge difference. And there are instances where, like, if somebody had caught it early enough, they could have kept something really bad from happening. They could have kept themselves from just spiraling, straight down. And so what I would encourage you is that if you start even remotely feeling yourself that you are getting to that point, I would encourage you to seek out like a licensed, make sure you seek out like your primary care physician, a licensed therapist, just kind of seek out professional help, to make sure that you get the help that you need. And so hopefully if you seek out that help early on, then, you can keep yourself from getting to the point where you do have to, take a break, take a step back from being in nursing school. But if you do get to that point though, there's no shame in needing to take a step back to focus on you and make sure that you are in a right state of mind or in a right state of health. The next point is financial issues. I think that one speaks for itself. And, because if you can't pay for nursing school, if you can't pay for your living expenses or anything else, then needless to say, you're not going to be able to stay in school or go to nursing school. And so, and this could be anything from, not being able to get enough student loans to cover it. This could be not being able to save up enough money, not being able to go to school and work at the exact same time to be able to make ends meet. And so there's a lot of issues with that. I know divorce potentially can play a role in this as well. Maybe even like huge medical expenses or something like that. And so what I would encourage you is, before making this your reason for quitting, just kind of see if you can exercise any other options. This is assuming, of course, that nursing is what you actually want to do. If you're not working, maybe see if you can work during nursing school. Maybe, I know a lot of programs frown upon it, but plenty of students do it. I did it, and that can help kind of make the finances work out. I'll put a link to a video above that I talk a little bit more about working as a nursing student, and just kind of some good jobs as well for nursing students, some jobs that you should consider while you're in nursing school. Those are really the 4 big reasons that I could think of. And one thing that I will say is that before you get to the point where you are about to, pull the trigger, if you will, and actually just, drop out and unenroll yourself from all the classes, see if you can have a conversation with, a friend, a spouse, a parent, or whoever you would consider trusted in your life. See if you can have a conversation with them, bounce off ideas, see if there's anything that you are potentially missing before you go down this road, because it is a tough road. But as I've mentioned, in countless videos at this point, being a nurse, I think it's a great profession. It's a hard profession to get into, and at times can be a hard profession to stay in. But it is a rewarding profession that gives you a lot of options. So you got to do what you got to do sometimes, but just make sure you've looked at every option and every angle before making your decisions. If you got any questions, let me know in the comment sections below. If you were thinking about, or are, I should say, thinking about dropping out of nursing school, and you want to share kind of like why you're dropping out and just kind of like what some of those reasons are, or if you're just looking for words of encouragement, or somebody to encourage you forward into not dropping out of school. I don't know, whatever the reason is, just, put it in the comment section below. If you see somebody else who you think needs some encouragement, share some of that encouragement and pass it along. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you very soon in that next one.